guest doesn't buy it. He has my respect. He has the guts to be an opposition politician. He was jailed for it by Putin. Vladimir Kara-Murza. Vlad, great to see you. Thank you for joining me, as always.
Good to be back in your program, Chris.
What do people have to understand about Putin saying, sure, I'll sit down?
Look, I think Mr. Trump is being very skillfully played by Vladimir Putin here. If you look at the two readouts of this 2-hour-long conversation today, or what has been told afterwards, they sound like the accounts of two totally different conversations, because President Trump was very optimistic, as in that clip he just played. He said there'll be immediate talks on a ceasefire, there's going to be an end to this war. Whereas if you listen carefully or read the transcript of what Russian dictator Vladimir Putin said today, these were just general and meaningless words. There was nothing new, there was nothing concrete, and there was nothing promising. Because, you know, it's very clear what's Mr. Putin's strategy here. He wants to drag on these talks about talks and negotiations about negotiations and meetings for the sake of meetings, while he continues to advance as he sees it on the battlefield. But of course, he also wants to preserve his special relationship with Donald Trump, because that is his way out of international isolation. That is his way back into international legitimacy, which he most certainly does not deserve as a usurper and dictator that he is. That's his ways back into the international economy and trade. And in fact, if you read Donald Trump's readout today, he specifically mentioned that one of the things he promised Putin is a renewed trade relationship between Putin's Russia and the West. And so this seems to be Putin's strategy. This seems to be Putin's tactics. But, you know, for once in my life, I actually do agree with something that Vladimir Putin said today. He said this war is going to continue until the root causes, as he termed it, are addressed. Of course, what he means by that is basically a capitulation of Ukraine. You know, no NATO membership, no foreign troops, cede territories, even those that Putin's army hasn't occupied yet. But, you know, in a sense, and unwittingly, Putin's actually right. This war will continue until the root cause is resolved. And the root cause of this war is a Soviet KGB officer who's been sitting in the Kremlin for the past 25 years, who's dreaming about the past glory of the Soviet Empire, who's openly nostalgizing about the time of Stalin and Andropov, who's referred numerous times to the dissolution of the Soviet Empire as the, quote, greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the 20th century, and who has brought back so many horrendous Soviet-era practices, both when it comes to domestic repression, internal repression in our country, in Russia, and external aggression towards other countries like Georgia, Ukraine, or intervention in Syria on the side of Assad. And so for as long as Vladimir Putin remains in power, yes, there will be war. There will be war in Ukraine. There will be war on European soil. The only way to end this war is to have a democratic Russia. The only way to ensure long-term peace, stability, and security on the continent of Europe is to have a normal, peaceful, democratic political system in Russia, not this aggressive regime.
But Vlad, what can the United States do to make that happen?
Well, certainly the exact opposite of what's been happening is these last few weeks and months of the current administration, when you see the United States shutting down, for example, its international media broadcasting operations. You know, Russia has a total censorship now, including internet censorship. The only way for people inside of Russia to find out what's actually happening, including in the war in Ukraine, is from those independent media voices that come from abroad, including such media as Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, or Voice of America. Both, as you know, were shut down by the Trump administration a few weeks ago. The entire system of democracy and human rights assistance, with regard to Ukraine, with regard to Belarus, with regard to Russia, with regard to other countries living under authoritarian regimes, have been terminated.
Vladimir.
You know, only Russians can change the situation in Russia. It can't be any other way. But it is important that the free world stands in solidarity with those people in Russia who want to see our country becoming a normal, peaceful, democratic state. What we see now in the United States, unfortunately, is the opposite.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.